The Intelli-Lines triangulation is a powerful design tool as it allows you to first add lines between specifically named points, thus allowing you to first define the features in your model. To demonstrate how Intelli-Lines works, I'm going to be using this survey that was done for a road rehabilitation contract. Okay, so I'm using the L shortcut key to launch the visible layers dialog, so I can set the current layer only visible. The current layer is the 0 layer, which is the layer that the DTM data is displayed on. Okay, then I'm also just switching my triangulation lines on. As you can see, this survey is already triangulated, and you can see the center line points, the yellow line points, the edge of road are already all joined up neatly. So that's going to be our aim, is to get our triangulation to join up those specifically named points like the center line. Okay, I'm just switching all the CAD on again, so using that L shortcut for visible layers again and making all the CAD layers visible. Then I'm changing to my terrain application. I'm going to remove all the brake lines. So these are actually my brake lines, and I'm using a filter just to delete all the brake lines on surface number 1 or my natural ground, which is my surface 1. Okay, so I just switched on the CAD, so we've got a background to see how those points are positioned. So you can see they've picked up, the surveyors picked up the center line, the edge of road, a point on the yellow line, and then your banks, those drains, cut and fill areas on the sides of the road, and the fence as well. Okay, so just switching off the CAD once again so we can focus in on our triangulation. So if I use the normal model triangulate, the normal triangulate is just going to randomly join up the points, so create the break lines, but it's not looking at any specific point names. So the triangulate, model triangulate, just zooms to the whole site. So I'm just going to zoom into this predefined zoom area again. And can you see that the normal triangulation hasn't joined up the edge of road to edge of road or yellow line to yellow line? So if you are working on a rehabilitation, you won't be getting the correct levels. So from full to full, you want those lines, for example, to be running straight through. Instead, it's connected the closest point when creating those triangles. Okay, so I'm just going to go remove the triangulation lines again. So I'm going to model break lines and remove all again. So I'm going to remove the break lines, and then we're going to try the intelligent line triangulation, just using that filter to specify surface 1 again. So we want to now have a look at the Intelli-Lines triangulation, and we need to get a distance, a maximum line length to use in our intelligent line triangulation. So I'm just using the Q shortcut key just to measure from center line to center line. So it's about 11 meters. So generally the rule is to use about 1.5 times the length between your points. I can maybe do from fence point to fence point. So also under 12 meters. So I'm going to use a maximum line length or search distance of about 15 meters when it needs to join from one point to the next closest specifically named point. Okay, so I'm just going to display settings, and I'm just changing my text size. So remember, the draft text keeps the text size the same size regardless of your magnification. So I'm just setting it to an absolute size now, so that if we do the triangulation, and I'm going to run the intelligent line triangulation on the whole site. As a rule, the Intelli-Lines only works on the visible portion, so what's visible on your screen. Okay, and then just switching my CAD on, I'm using that L shortcut key for the visible layers again. So I want to run the Intelli-Lines, so it's Model, the Model pull-down menu, Intelli-Lines. Okay, the Intelli-Lines allows you to run 4 passes, but you can run this as many times as need be. I'm just setting that 15-meter maximum line length. So that's the search distance that it'll look for points to join to, those specifically named points that it's going to look in a radius around each point. Okay, so I'm using 15 meters. I'm going to do 3 passes initially, the CL, the center line, the yellow line, and then the edge of tar points. You can have up to 4 points joined, 4-point names per pass, and then you can also have names that you want to exclude. That could, for example, be a manhole invert level that you don't want to include in your triangulation of your natural ground. Okay, and then you have an option here to keep existing lines or delete. Those are existing break lines, specifically break lines. The new lines that we're creating can be break or feature lines. The feature lines are just slightly more important or have a higher priority in the model. And you've also got the option of using that fence to only do the Intelli-Line triangulation inside that fenced area. Okay, so it's run those 3 passes. I'm just going to refresh, S to refresh, and then we can go have a look at what's been done. I'm just going to zoom into that predefined zoom name viewport of mine. That is my zoom hotkey number 1, and then just switching the CAD off so we can see which lines have been created. So you can see the center lines, the yellow line, and the edge of tar have all been joined up. If I run that Intelli-Lines again, we can run the points just to the outside. So I'm going to do the full, the toe and bottom bank, then the cut and the fence. I think we can join up the F point as well. So keeping existing and then new lines as feature lines. And just S to refresh. So remember, this is only on the visible portion of my screen. So it's only done those new lines between the full, the toe, and the cut and the fence, only on the visible portion of my screen. Okay, so I still have to run it on the whole site. So I'm just going to keep those same settings and now run the Intelli-Lines on the whole site. I just did that first one just to test to see how it linked all that up for us. Okay, and then to run the whole site, there are 1 or 2 little gaps that we can see, but generally the Intelli-Lines have done a good job and pretty much automated the triangulation of the feature lines in this model. Without the Civil Designer Intelli-Lines functionality, it could literally take days to define the features on a big survey. So it really is a nice function to have access to. Okay, I'm just going to run it once more. I'm just resetting and I'm running those top banks, so TB and then the 15-meter search distance and then also that toe point that those lines were also missing. So let's just run it for those, creating feature lines again. And okay. Okay, so you can see it running those 2 passes. There are pens that you can set in the option settings. Okay, so looking a lot neater. There are a few little gaps here. We could run a combination there, so we could possibly run with a single pass, for example, the toe and the toe BB points to join those up. But I'm not going to do that now. I think we'll just cancel out of that and then I'll just manually go to the break line adding or feature line adding. So these are feature lines in this case. So we can just go to that Terrain Lines toolbar, and I'm adding feature lines. Okay, so it's the Terrain Lines toolbar, adding a feature line. The snap, it automatically snaps to the closest point, but I've just taken the gravel snap just to be safe, or just to show you visually where we are snapping to. Okay, and then that toe point there to that toe point. So some of those we could have run with the combination. So in a single pass, we could have different names to join up as well. But there you can see that Intelli-Lines has done a good job, saved us a lot of time and effort. So what about the rest of the triangulation? We still need to do the triangulation between our feature lines. So to do that, I'm going to run the model triangulate, so just the normal triangulation. And in memory, so just from the computer's memory, and then maximum line length, going to use 25. The triangulation, the normal model triangulate, redraws to the whole site and does the triangulation for the whole site. So there you can see, looks pretty neat. If I zoom into the top of the site there, you can see if I change my draft text and make the text a bit bigger, 4 millimeters, keep it the same size, and then just my line styles. You can see my break lines, I had them as continuous lines just to make it a bit clearer. I'm going to set it down to the dashed or hidden line. The guys that have been using Civil Designer for longer prefer those smaller dashed lines for the break line display.